I'll try and answer your question, Viz. I don't know if you posing it as a real question or not, but um,
No,
no,
it's a
it's
real question because
okay.
it's a real question because even with the Amber Rose, right? Somebody has said in the chat, uh, if Beyonce was to come out and say that she was endorsing Trump, that will be a career sabotage for her. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you come out publicly and you're black and you say that, okay, well, this year, this election, I'm voting this way, and it's gonna be against the grain because I don't like the experience that I've been getting. It's gonna be a immediate decline.
So all right, black people as a whole, from the civil rights movement until fairly recently, have tried to operate politically, culturally along the same lines, and because people have kind of turned to more seeing it from a class system. So if you elevate yourself to a position where the taxes are really kicking your ass, if you're making enough money that it really affects you, and you align in a different way, culturally we view that as somebody being for themselves at the expense of others amongst the community. So that's one of the reasons that is pushed off like that. And the question I asked earlier about why do some of the conservatives loudly align themselves against black people is the issue. So if they just say, "Hey, I'm voting this way for my tax purposes," woo woo, got you. But then if you go further and say, "Yeah, well, George Floyd, he did it, that like any issue where black people collectively take a stance and you position yourself as the opposition, that's when that will occur." Did that make sense? Maybe I didn't answer that correctly.
No, that makes sense, and
It makes
I
sense.
think I think that's an issue in my opinion. I think that's a problem. That's group thinking. You know what I'm saying? In which can be extremely detrimental to a group. You know, so me personally, I have my own views on things in situations that happen. Uh, you know, even with I'll speak vaguely on even with the rioting and everything. Me personally, I couldn't stand for that because why are we tearing up our own communities? So that's something that I couldn't embrace. Me personally, if this is where my grandmother uh, out in Harvey, they messed up the Walgreens, and my grandmother and grandfather, that's the only one that they can go to because neither one of them can drive. So now they got to get out of there because niggas ran up in there. So that's not something that I can condone because
Uh-oh.
that ignorance in that moment is going to affect people in the long run. Just because
Viz, what's stopping black people from doing? Why do we gotta wait till a political race in order to exercise some type of political power between black people? What's stopping us from doing our own thing and actually coming together as a community?
I
That way
agree.
we're prepared in unity to cast our votes as a group on the
I
one we want to designate. Like what's
I,
I'll
stopping us
tell
from
you
doing
why.
that?
I'll tell you why. No, he asked you to Viz. Go ahead.
I think that is because I think that is because a lot of people are voting off of emotions. I think that they're not looking at the policies and what's actually happening. I think that because we've been so conditioned to vote Democrat by default, because our grandmothers did it, our grandfathers did it, the great grandfathers. It's a long line of it to where we've been doing this group thing and just voting this way just by default. And,
Vince,
and
can you tell us some of the policies that made you change your mind?
so one of the policies early on when Trump got into office, he lowered the fees to establish a business. For me, that was a okay, bet I see what he on. Um, Again, during that time period, the food, just everyday living for a person that's in middle, lower class was in a much better position. Even with the administration now, the fact that we have so many illegals inside of the country, and they just voted to try to get those illegals to essentially be able to vote during the election without having to register a home address. That says a lot to me. That's a problem. The fact that that they're getting funds that should be going to the Black community and is not, and it's going to them. The fact that they closed down the schools in Chicago and they put them in there, you know what I'm saying? So all of these things that's adding up and that I'm seeing every single day, even when I was out in Chicago, and I had did a documentary with a group that went and gave with a men's group that went and gave food and clothes to those people that was out there. The fact that they had them out in the middle of the winter living on the streets, that to me that says a lot, bro. And that's something that I can't stand for, regardless if I feel that they should be here or not. Those are still human beings. It was kids outside, no shoes on. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, how much money are they getting for these people? You know what I'm saying? So for me, those are the policies that impact my decision making.
I got one more question for you. If someone said, hey, I'll give you $10 million, but you have to make sure you align yourself against your people, no matter what is going on, for the betterment of yourself, to the detriment of your people, would you take that deal?
Of course not.
I'm just curious.
Cap.
I walked away from it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've talked about this on the panel. I've walked away from money. You know what I'm saying?
Cut me that check.
Because if it goes against my morals and what I stand for and what I understand that it's going to do to the future generations, because that's what I'm worried about. That was the whole purpose of manhood, was to leave a legacy and be able to, you know what I'm saying, impact the generations to come. So if the decisions that I make is going to affect them, then come on, man. That's crazy.
You
But
can't say that and say you go vote Republican in the same sentence.
how can I? That's crazy. So like another thing too, right? Typically Black people would say that and I had this conversation, I've had this been said to me numerous times, that Republicans only care about protecting their money. Why is that a bad thing? If we as Black people is trying to build our communities, our bank accounts, and hold on to our money to grow it, how is that a bad thing?
Because they have no problem siphoning money out of our
You
community.
think the haves teach the have-nots about how to build financial and generational wealth over time? You think they're incentivized to do that?
We are in the age of technology and
Here we go with this bullshit.
It's not bullshit. You telling
Do you know what you're gonna look for? Do you know what to look for?
You telling
Biz, you got to answer your question direct though. Answer him direct. He said, "Do you think that that's what they doing that on purpose and that's what they're looking for?"
That's what who's looking for?
Ask him again, Kenny, directly.
Do you think that those same well-to-do, the haves, are teaching the have-nots the fundamentals to build financial and generational wealth? Do you believe that they're incentivized to do so, and would they?
Yes. I have placed myself in circles.
Shannon, why you made me repeat that?
I believe that if you seek knowledge, you will find it. If it's something that you're looking for, it's not like we don't have successful Black men, millionaires. You know what I'm saying? That's not uncommon anymore. So if you go out and seek to be in those circles with those type of people, then absolutely.
Okay, so those type of circles
is taking away what you're saying and
circles. You can get in those type of circles.
It's taking away the power that people have to create for themselves.
You can give me a monologue. You're just dancing around it.
I'm not dancing around it. As a
Can
whole,
you go into Four Seasons right now and go sit down with the Koch brothers, and they'll let you in and say, "Come over here. Let me teach you how I get this money."
if you have a relationship with them, you absolutely can.
Okay.
Come on,
So
man.
how would you build a
Sound
relationship
crazy
with
as
the
hell,
Koch
bro.
brothers, brother? I mean, Vince.
Pull up
I'm
on me.
interested.
Pull up.
The same,
Give me the breakdown.
They're not gonna
the
survive.
same
They're
way
not
you
gonna
could
help.
build a relationship with anybody else, man. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
Really?
care.
You just go.
Like, I don't understand how this sounds so far fetched.